All right, and our next presentation is an innovation in DuPage. Welcome, Joe Cassidy and Dan Faucini.
Thank you so much, Chair Fenny. Good evening. Good evening, Chair. Good evening, Board. I'm Joe Cassidy, Assistant Provost for Workforce and Economic Development and Chair of Innovation DuPage. With me is Dan Faucini, our Managing Director. While we've presented to this board a few times over the years, we're happy to be back. It's been a while, and we've got some exciting updates and outcomes to share with you. We'll start with a video recap of the first 5 years and the last 5 years with a quick video created by some of our student interns. So ID and the COD Business Development Center exist because the U.S. economy relies on small business. Yet these businesses fail at a high rate. Research shows that if you can surround these businesses with expert advising, provide access to resources, these companies have a much better chance of success. ID greatly advances COD's economic development efforts. ID's foundation is over 4 decades of COD's work through business solutions, the BDC, years of research and grants and focus groups. Here you see about 16 years of impact of just one of the cornerstones of ID, which is the Business Development Center. This group, for about a 16-year period, had $1.2 billion in economic impact. ID was originally going to be another program within continuing education, but the College Board and leadership saw the greater potential and formed a sister nonprofit.
ID extends the foundation of economic development established by the college through a community of entrepreneurs, mentors, industry, research, and academic partners, all focused on small business success. In fiscal years 23 alone, ID added 51 new member companies in incubation, 32 companies completed the Business Accelerator program, and 80% of those companies were women, minority, and veteran-owned businesses. Additionally, ID member companies created 30 new jobs, raised more than $4 million in seed funding, and ID provided over $225,000 in program scholarships while taking no equity in any of the companies served. While Innovation DuPage is industry agnostic by design, our community is about 50% tech and tech-enabled companies and 50% Main Street businesses. This chart breaks things down further by industry and shows that we are able to serve the very diverse regional industry clusters of Greater DuPage. Of the 108 active ID member companies right now, 30 are in the early stage. 62 are in the growth mode between $100,000 and $1 million in annual revenue, and 17 are in the expansion mode with revenue over $1 million. While most companies are between 2 and 5 years old, and in that growth phase, companies that have come through our owner-CEO Business Accelerator program have been as large as 90 employees with revenues in the tens of millions. Over the years, ID has received quite a bit of attention in the news and through awards. That allows us to tell the story of Innovation DuPage, of College of DuPage, and the story of our member companies as well. In 2021, College of DuPage won the top award for the excellence in college corporate partnerships from the AACC. And since our opening, our members and board chair have received numerous regional awards for entrepreneurial excellence.
ID's member success stories are varied and growing. Data Intelligent grew from 2 founders during COVID to 25 employees and is on track for $10 million in sales this year. Natural science is technology coming out of Fermilab. The founders have been approached by the Prime Minister of Tobago to apply their technology to an oil spill from a capsized oil tanker. ID's vision is broad and designed to, next slide please, to be mutually beneficial. The Innovation Highway is an exchange wherein COD faculty and labs not only support ID member company development, but the innovations these companies create provide ROI to the college. For example, Data Intelligent, who I mentioned, is supporting COD CE in better enrollment management. There are a number of potential large impact innovation returns possible in companies like AuditMaster Pro, who's saving Willis Tower in Chicago over $300,000 a month in HVAC savings. Our vision is for companies like AuditMaster Pro to have that impact of those savings and technologies on the college and our partners. Havenshine has met the landscaper labor shortage with automated commercial lawn mowers. They have contracts with Morton Arboretum, they're already cutting their grass, Naperville Park District, and Harper College. We would love to see Havenshine and other such companies on our campus here, returning, saving our taxpayer dollars. The last bullet there to the right is intentionally set aside and it is a little vague because we have a former Argonne scientist who's been awarded a $1 million grant from the U.S. Air Force. He's working on alternative energy. We're working with facilities to see if one of our existing labs on campus could be the home of that technology that's being created. So work continues to leverage partner resources for the benefit of the companies and for those companies to benefit the college and our partners through the Innovation Highway.
Here we see 3 different levels of incubation membership at Innovation DuPage. All of them are very affordable. Each level provides additional resources. The initial level is of Ideate is as low as $50 a month for a company to come to Innovation DuPage and get the resources they need to grow. And then we have a series of programs as well. Every 2 weeks, ID hosts a member meetup where a member of the community presents their business to the greater community. We have problem-solving sessions, and one of our partners will present their resources that they can provide to our member companies. We also host monthly workshops with partners like the Business Development Center on every facet of business, from social media, marketing, to business planning, and how to use AI. And then quarterly, ID's hosting fundraising roundtables, which helps companies prepare for angel investment and venture capital fundraising. Our flagship program is the Owner to CEO Business Accelerator Program, which is essentially a mini MBA program for companies looking to grow. We just started our 17th cohort of that program with over 200 small businesses having take part in that program from throughout the community. Additionally, we have entrepreneurship programs for English language learners and also for neurodiverse entrepreneurs.
So connecting the classroom to the work world has long been a part of COD CE. ID furthers this through internships as well as capstone projects. On the left is a picture of COD students from Professor Gautam Wadhwa's class, graphic design class, which helped design multiple games for ID member Gray Matter Games. Gray Matters has gone on to hire several of these students in permanent positions. Gray Matters is a local startup making board games. COVID was perfect timing for them. And they're on track for $1 million in sales this year. If you advanced that, thank you, Josh. Other faculty like Bob Clark, Peter James, Leah Don, David Wexel, all have been key partners. Dr. Peter James connects his classes and the Entrepreneurship Club to ID while teaching in emerging entrepreneurs and serving as the host for the annual Big Idea Pitch Contest, which, by the way, is next Wednesday in the mock courtroom. Please, we'd love to see you there. It's not just COD faculty connecting to ID. Our university partners connect their entrepreneurial courses, graduate and undergraduate programs, and events to ID. Elmhurst University credits ID with helping build the case for its entrepreneurial certificate program. A huge value proposition to members, academic partners, and of course students comes through internships. The COD Foundation has graciously supported 24 interns through the Intern Plus program, and our university partners and even 2 regional area high schools have provided the balance. In 2016, we had alignment of leadership at COD, across the county, and Glen Ellen to launch ID. COD invested the build-out of headquarters in the Glen Ellen Civic Center and committed to long-term financial support. Glen Ellen offered what is essentially 20 years free lease. DuPage County is unique for many reasons, not the least of which we have 2 of the 17 national laboratories. As mentioned, we have innovations coming out of both of those labs. ID offers municipal, library, and economic development and chamber partners value through workshops, advising, and business services for their members. Enterprise partners offer much needed business support discounts for things you'll see here that you'll recognize: Amazon, Google Cloud. They provide discounts because these firms realize startups and small businesses are critical. Our investment partners realize that successful small businesses benefit the entire community. ID has raised over $500,000 in cash from these partners and considerably more through in-kind services from these committed partners. Before taking questions here momentarily, I wanted to show you our efforts to diversify ID's funding over the years. In 2018, as I mentioned, ID was intended to be a college program. It was created as another CE program. It was 100% funded by the college. At the board's advisement, which I now realize was very wise, in fiscal year 19, we created a separate nonprofit business to ensure ID moves at the rate of business, at the speed of business, and to allow ID to raise external funds and partners. By fiscal year 20, ID increased partner funding to decrease COD's position to 73% of total funding. In fiscal year 22, COD dipped below 50%. In fiscal year 24, COD was just barely above 50% at 51 as the majority funder. In the proposed annual funding item that's in tonight's consent agenda, COD would increase to a 56% stake funder. If COD funding remains flat, which it has in previous years, COD is projected to fall to a 28% stake funder. While COD annual funding has remained flat, inflation increased. And ID outcomes and services have grown significantly. ID served 24 companies in its first year. We were happy with that. In fiscal year 24, we have over 200 companies in residence. At the same time, ID launched youth programming, the Elevate program, NDEP, a mentor program, workshop series, while also growing our partnership to over 60 organizations. We strongly recommend that COD remain the majority funder to protect its intellectual property, decades of economic development work, and to remain a leader in the country in the incubation, acceleration, and economic development space. I'd like to thank you for having us here tonight and for your support over the years. And at this time, we would gladly entertain any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Trustees, did you have some questions, Vice Chair Holland?
I did, but I think you covered them so well. I mean, I'm almost speechless because you literally took almost every question. I guess the only thing I have left is, could you give a little more information? One of the comments, and you literally just made it, protecting decades of intellectual property. Expand upon that a little bit more.
Sure. So we've been traveling quite a bit presenting on this model. We didn't make up business incubation. It started in 1959 in upstate New York, but there's not a model quite like this in the country, probably the world. It's certainly not one hosted by a community college.
Right.
I mean, we have universities, not just community colleges, asking us, how do you do this? We have other municipalities and counties coming to us and saying, can we replicate this? And frankly, we're saying, yes, we'll help you replicate it, but someone's got to do the work. Having said that, our model is extremely unique, and it comes out of 40 years of the Business Development Center, our corporate college and continuing education. And it's our, yes, it's a separate sister entity, but we are the primary funder at the college, and we control its destiny with lots of input from our partners. But we think that's important to maintain that position.
In other words, even if they tried to follow our model, they could really never replicate it.
Not quite. We encourage them, saying, we'll help you try.
Right.
You'll have to you'll tailor it to your area. Right. I mean, we're very unique. Two national labs, crossroads of transportation and logistics for the country.
Right.
But I could go to rural Iowa and I'll tell you there's a model that will work there.
Right.
But you're going to need the people and an institution like COD to be behind it.
Terrific. Excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been there.
Trustee Appel?
I have two things. One about dissemination. I remember my very first ACCT conference. You guys gave a presentation, and I noticed the other day that the deadline for the upcoming conference is getting close. I don't know if you have the bandwidth for it, but it might be a great opportunity.
For the ICCTA or
ACCT, the National Trustee, the Congress.
if they're still accepting applications, absolutely. We have also presented for the ICCTA for recognition this year. I would love to see if they're still accepting.
They are.
Okay, we would love to.
Yeah.
And while our model's unique, there's enough room for everyone, not in our county, but we need more of these. When we started our initial research, we went to 1871 in Chicago. Yeah. We said, do you want to formally be a part of this? They said, you don't need us. Well, here's our playbook. Go get it done. There's room for all of us. So we will gladly help other areas do this because we see what happens. Small businesses thrive, they innovate, they hire our students. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I also saw the neurodiverse effort, and with Maureen Dunn on our board, this could be a great time.
She's been instrumental in that program and connecting us with Autism Angels. We had so much to say. We went kind of quickly. The bottom slide had a picture of a student who is a young woman who's on the spectrum. She teaches graphic design courses. She came out of the NDEP program, and she's now teaching at CODCE. She's teaching across the country. She's also on Netflix, Love on the Spectrum. She's amazing.
Oh, okay.
So there's all sorts of wonderful things happening. Mm-hmm. But here's a young woman starts her own company, and she's going around the country now teaching others on the spectrum graphic design. And it came out of the NDEP program.
Mm-hmm. The other question I have is, I was on Facebook the other day, and I saw that someone was promoting our dual credit entrepreneurship course with District 87, and I was wondering if you could say more about it.
Sure. The actual dual credit course is not in my shop, so to speak, but Dan and his team have been working closely with the district, as have Tamara McLean and Lisa and others in academic affairs. So that group helped create the program. What Dan and team have been doing behind the scenes is supporting the district, the high school district, in understanding entrepreneurial education and getting them in our pitch contest and serving on their pitch contest. So there's a lot happening at Innovation DuPage that's about the total ecosystem. It would be easier if we just focused on startup businesses, but that's not enough. So the dual credit is not us, but Dan and team have been instrumental in getting the districts to work with the college and to just promote entrepreneurial education.
So are those high school teachers who were
yes
in those classes?
Yes. You want to say more about that? Or?
Incubator.edu class, we've been working closely with Mike Fumagalli from the Glenbard School District, talking with him specifically. And actually, he presented this morning, really singing our praises about how much we've helped that program. They need to attract mentors in order to facilitate their program. And so we've helped them put together a video, and we've connected them with a lot of ID members to serve as mentors for their program.
Okay, thank you.
I just make a comment. Anybody who hasn't gone over there to have a visit, you really should, because it's not only the facility is so nice, but it's impressive what they're doing in general with the businesses they have coming through there. You mentioned about the 20-year free rent from Glen Ellen. That's how many years in are we? Is that 5 in?
We're 5 years in and free. I'll be very specific. ID is paying $15,000 per year, which is amazing. And then the Business Development Center is paying $15,000 a year. So we have a 10-year agreement with a 10-year renewal. If the village wanted us out at 10 years, they have to they have to give us back our capital investment of $2.5 million. So it's very unlikely. Okay, yeah. On top of that, we're kind of in love over there. It's going wonderful.
Yeah, that's what I was I would, if you can elaborate, like they understand just sort of the commerce that goes through there and the tax benefit that
they're thrilled.
Not necessarily from us, but just from the people and the expenses going through it at the village.
The companies come in there, spend money downtown. We host events, and data intelligent when they bless you, when they are too big, which is any minute now, we're hoping they stay in Glen Ellen or Lombard or you name the town, right? So part of this is we want these businesses to stay here. And just a note on this, you may have heard me say this before, this proposition ID came to the board at the time budget neutral because we had been paying $225,000 plus a year for rent to house the BDC. And so Dr. Caputo and a few of us were at lunch with Glen Ellen when we said we wanted 20 years free rent, and they literally, the village manager, almost spit his lunch out, but they did it because they get it. They get the value of this. And so we were able to take so much expense off the table, and we have at least 15 years left of that deal.
Joe, if I remember correctly, that the $15,000 in those two places is mostly to cover utilities and operating.
Correct.
And his costs and utilities.
Excellent presentation.
Does anyone remote have any questions or? Okay. Thank you so much for.
Yes, thank you.
I also want to say it was an excellent presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anita. Trustee Corey. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.